The world has always had a fascination with the macabre, and this is true especially for anime fans. The popularity of Junji Ito's works and Kentaro Miura's Berserk are some of the more prominent examples that support this statement. It's a dark fascination that's captivated audiences from time immemorial, from gladiatorial fights to the newest shows with gore and violence. However, it's not necessary to tell such morbid and gruesome themes only in a setting of a foregone age. The neon cities of the future are as perfect a setting as the medieval dungeons of the past. Widely considered the golden eras of anime, the 80s and 90s would see innovation in not just technology, but in the types of stories that would be told as well. One of the best things to come out of this melting pot of ideas and technology was the growth in the popularity of the sci-fi genre and mature themes in anime. This would spawn some of the most critically acclaimed titles in the medium, along with other underrated hits, which would largely go under most people's radars. Some of the darkest stories of this era would use the brightest cities of the future as their setting, so in today's video, we're going to tell you about 12 such disturbing sci-fi animes you simply can't miss. Serial Experiment Lain. 1998. Serial Experiment Lain follows the story of a quiet, diminutive, technophobic girl from a somewhat dysfunctional family called Lain. Her sedentary world is thrown upside down when she receives an email on the wire, this world's version of the internet, from beyond the grave. The sender claims to be her classmate, Chisa Yomura, who had committed suicide a few days earlier. This forces her to slowly open herself to the world of technology and the wire. The email triggers a series of weird and esoteric events in her life as her sense of reality is blurred and the line between the real and the digital becomes increasingly muddied. The deeper she falls into the rabbit hole, the more her understanding regarding the concepts of reality, identity, existence, perception, and even mental illness is challenged. The anime takes you on a surreal and cerebral journey, along with its protagonist and the rest of the cast. Directed by Chiaki J. Konaka, the series has often drawn comparisons with Hideaki Anno's Neon Genesis Evangelion, as they both deal with dark and cerebral themes. It's considered by many to be a sci-fi psychological avant-garde series. The music matches the anime's tone and complements its slow-burning pace. The anime is deliberately paced in that way to invoke in the audience a sense of belonging in this grim futuristic world. Though on the surface, it might seem like another piece meant to preach about the dangers of technology, as we follow Lain's journey, it becomes clear that the themes this anime explores are far more complex and profound. This anime has had a massive impact, from being studied by the American Philosophical Study to winning the Excellent Prize at the Japan Media Arts Festival in 1998. It's a must-watch for people looking for something psychological, supernatural, and sci-fi in their shows. Battle Angel Alita, 1993. After being discovered in a junkyard by expert cybermedic Daisuke Ito, a female cyborg reawakens with little to no memory of her past. Ito gives her the name Alita in memory of his recently deceased cat. The one thing she does remember is her ability to use a legendary martial arts technique known as Panzerkunst. The duo then decides to use her martial prowess to hunt bounties, kill rogue cyborgs, and later participate in a gladiatorial sport called motorball, which is organized by the elite to distract the masses from their squalid existence. Set in the city of Scrapyard in what was once America, we follow her story as she tries to put together the pieces of her memories in order to discover her past. It boasts a substantial, colorful cast that either aids our heroine or stands in her way. Through the course of her journey, Alita grows to be much more than just a bounty hunter found abandoned in a scrapyard, as she embraces her true destiny. The anime does a brilliant job of painting a grim dystopian world of the future. It deals with the serious theme of a world divided by class, where the denizens of Scrapyard are forced to fend for the scraps that rain down from the floating city of Salem. It reaffirmed that solid female characters could lead an action franchise. The series has also been adapted into a Hollywood film that goes by the same name. The moment-to-moment action is some of the best in the genre and will keep you hooked from start to finish. This one's a must-watch if you're fond of high-octane action and the cyberpunk genre. Neon Genesis Evangelion, 1995. Neon Genesis Evangelion is an anime that has developed a vast global fan base, and deservingly so. Though widely accepted as belonging to the mech genre, this series contains motifs and themes unlike any other anime in that genre. The story revolves primarily around Shinji Ikari, a young boy who's coerced into piloting one of the giant biomechanical suits called Evangelions. The Evangelions are humanity's last hope against a group of extra-dimensional alien beings known as the Angels, who are set on destroying the Earth by triggering events known as calamities. What initially appears like just another mecha anime soon takes a darker turn as events play out that make the characters deeply contend with and question things such as morality, reality, depression, and even self-discovery. As Shinji and his friends fight off the alien threat, they must also fight against their own minds to come out not just victorious, but also with their sanity and humanity intact. This masterpiece by acclaimed director Hideaki Anno revolutionized the mecha genre and the anime industry, which had stagnated during the 90s Japanese economic crisis. Never before had any anime achieved what it went on to do. From the animation to the themes in the story, it pioneered a method of storytelling that is still copied and studied by artists, audiences, and academics worldwide. The marriage of a dystopian sci-fi external world with its protagonist's dystopian and disturbed mind allowed for the creation of a complex series that's well-loved even today. Angel Cop, 1989. In the near future, Japan will become the world's foremost economy, with its capital, Tokyo, the world's financial capital. However, not all is shiny and golden in the city, as it harbors a dark underbelly full of crime and misery. The prosperity of the nation has caught the attention of a communist terrorist outfit called the Red May. With the increase in mayhem and terrorism, the government sets up the Special Security Force, which is given the license to kill and the freedom to employ any method, no matter how brutal or ruthless, to fight the terrorist group. As the Special Security Force sets out to achieve its goal of eliminating its target, the members of the Red May start turning up dead one after another, having been murdered in gruesome manners. The plot is centered around our protagonist, Angel, a beautiful and sexy but ruthless officer of the Special Security Force, as she fights on two fronts against the terrorist and the unknown vigilante group that is killing both sides. As the story develops, she discovers the identity and origins of the mysterious killers and is tangled in a web of conspiracies that reaches the highest echelons of society. Angel Cop is a gory action anime full of nihilistic shock value. It's the perfect example of the type of anime that was coming out during the 80s, and it tries to blend gore and blood with themes of political intrigue and a conspiracy thriller. There are certain events that have been altered in the anime from the manga, though they don't vastly change the outcome of the story. If you're a fan of crazy action sequences with lots and lots of gore and violence, but also needs some semblance of a good plot at the same time, this cyberpunk anime set in a dystopian Tokyo will definitely scratch your itch. Cyber City Oedo, 808, 1990. The futuristic city of Oedo, formerly known as Tokyo, is plagued by crimes and violence, especially of a cybernetic nature. It's a dystopian cyberpunk city where technology is an integral part of humanity. To combat the city's rising crime rates, the cyber unit of the police restarts the ancient Japanese practice of homen, in which the hardened criminals are employed as officers under certain conditions to hunt down their kind. We're introduced to the three main characters, each with very distinct personalities, named Sengoku, Gogol, and Benton, who have been recruited under the program above in exchange for reducing their sentences for every case they tackle. There is, however, a caveat. Should the trio fail to accomplish their mission or decide to flee their commanding officer in a very Suicide Squad-like manner, they can trigger the explosives strapped around their necks, killing them instantly. With over 300 years of jail time to their names, the trio must fight for the opposite side and try to earn their freedom. If you like the idea of DC's Suicide Squad in a cyberpunk dystopian setting with much more adult themes, this anime is something you don't want to miss. Even though it's set in the year 2808 in a world where technology and man walk hand in hand, it contains several motifs and themes that harken back to the feudal ages of Japan. It's an exciting juxtaposition of the old and new worlds and creates a very interesting setting for the anime. The soundtrack features very hard-hitting heavy metal numbers that complement the mood of the anime. Honestly, it's one of the better anime soundtracks out there. As the three hardened criminals go toe-to-toe with augmented humans and synthetic immortal beings, it sets the tone for a fun, action-packed, and violent show that'll keep you engaged. The Guyver, Bio Booster Armor, 1989. The anime follows the story of Sho Fukumachi, a high school student who one day discovers a mysterious artifact in the jungle during a walk. Little does he know that this artifact was actually a mysterious bio-armor, which leads him to activate the unit accidentally, causing the armor to merge with him as he emerges as the titular character, Guyver. He realizes that he's nigh invincible in this form, capable of several superhuman feats. Sho soon discovers that the armor is as much a curse as a blessing, as it has one fatal weakness called the control metal, which acts as a double-edged sword. The control metal is capable of regenerating its host even from the most fatal of damage. However, in the scenario where it's destroyed, the armor cannibalizes the host. The armor, stolen initially from a shady organization called the Cronus, who will stop at nothing to regain their property, even if it means killing Sho. As he journeys, battling this mysterious organization and its superpowered henchmen, he seeks to discover the true origins of everything and find a way to get rid of his symbiotic situation. The show's plot, although far from complex or groundbreaking, does accomplish what it sets out to do, which is to be a top-tier action anime with lots of bangs and whistles. The story does expand upon its lore as it goes on. Unlike the earlier entries in this video, it might not deal with super severe and mature themes, but it is their equal when it comes to violence and action. If you're a fan of characters such as Mega Man, Kamen Rider, Iron Man, and even Venom, this show is meant for you. Blue Gender, 1999. When Yuji Kaido awakens 22 years after he was put under cryostasis to prevent him from dying from his incurable disease, he didn't expect to wake up to find that things had been changed so irrevocably. Humanity is no longer the apex species after being replaced by a race of alien bugs known as the Blue. Mankind now calls a space station named Earth-2 its home as it continues to fight the invaders. Yuji and others who had been put into suspended animation due to their diseases caused by rare B cells are now being sought after by the military, and they are known as sleepers. They are believed to hold the key to defeating the Blues within their B cells. Yuji is immediately thrust into battle and is made to pilot a new prototype armor suit called the Double Edge, designed for sleepers like him. As the young man tries to come to terms with his new situation quickly, he must fight to regain his love, his homeworld, and the 22 years of his life that he has lost against insurmountable odds while maintaining his humanity. The series might at first seem like it's just rehashing another version of the giant bug versus humanity theme, and one cannot be blamed for thinking that. However, if you persist with the show, it's so much more than that. The character development in this anime is top tier, with even the side characters getting fleshed out exceptionally well. Their motivations and fears, along with the way they interact with each other and their environment, feel very grounded in reality. There's a lot of blood and carnage, and the violence is very graphic. It has a pretty grim setting and does an excellent job of exploring the darker sides of human nature. Excluding the violence and the gore, this anime is definitely still meant for a more mature audience due to its complex and adult themes. We recommend this anime if you're into shows like Starship Troopers, but prefer a more grim tone to things. Genocyber, 1994. If you thought the anime we've covered so far was gory and violent, wait until you see Genocyber. This anime tells the story of two sisters endowed with potent psychic abilities whose powers, when combined, produce the monstrosity called Genocyber. Set in a highly dystopian cyberpunk setting, the world's nations are uniting under a single banner. To thwart this and tilt the power in their favor, a greedy corporation seeks to experiment and force two young girls, Lain and Diane, to combine their powers to unleash what they call the ultimate weapon. Little do they know the problem they've created, because instead of getting a weapon they can leverage against the nations of the world, they get a massacre machine. Genocyber slaughters everyone and everything it sees, including the scientists who experimented on it. It goes on a rampage, reducing cities to wastelands and killing so indiscriminately that, at one point, it feels almost obscene, like violence is being perpetrated for the sake of violence. The terrible thing is that it is precisely just that. Genocyber knows no friends or foes and exists purely to deliver carnage. This anime is a 5-episode OVA, and for those who have read the manga for the series, the story for the anime is significantly different. The episodes are mostly standalone, as the story's setting moves from the present setting of the anime to the far future. We would say that it's an underrated masterpiece that is dismissed as an edgy anime that overuses violence and gore. We would argue that it knows its audience well and doesn't seek to please anyone or get new people into its niche. This anime is full of body horror, and we believe it stands proudly covered in guts and glory, unashamed of what it is, without hiding behind a plot that seeks to justify its violence. This anime would never have been made in today's sensibilities and politically correct climate, but if you're a fan of dark, disturbing body horror and extreme violence in your shows, this one's for you. What we love about this show is that it might not be for everybody, and it doesn't pretend to be. You either love it or hate it, but you can't ignore Genocyber. Armitage III, 1995. Moving from one cyberpunk world to another, we have the next anime on our list, Armitage III. It's the year 2046, and humanity has managed to terraform and colonize Mars due to the overpopulation of Earth. The first inhabitants of the colony comprised humans and Type 2 robots, with their type denoting their generation. The protagonists of this story are Detective Rose Sibilis, a detective from the Chicago Police Department who's been transferred to Mars after an incident with a robot left him crippled and his partner dead, who is joined by Naomi Armitage, his new partner in the Mars Police Department. Naomi is a third-generation android called a Type 3, who is almost human in every regard but is illegally produced. As they investigate the death of a singer who dies en route to Mars, who's discovered to be a Type 3, and other women like her, they soon realize they've delved into things far above their pay grade. This anime is a buddy cop drama set in a cyberpunk environment that draws heavy inspiration from Isaac Asimov's Robot series, which inspired the I, Robot movie, and William Gibson's Neuromancer. The show's female lead, Armitage, is an instant hit as a badass feisty cop with a fiery temper, but underneath it all, a woman dealing with her own fears and doubts. The anime does a great job of creating multidimensional characters. It explores the relationship between man and machine as the two protagonists get closer and move past their traumas. The juxtaposition of a machine that is more human than humans who seem to have lost their humanity, consumed by their hatred for the Type 3 androids, makes the audience ask an essential question of what it means to be human. The plot would have been better served if it had been spread over many more episodes than the 4 episodes of the OVA. This doesn't, however, take away from its quality. If you love the Ghost in the Cell series, The Matrix, or I, Robot, you'll definitely find something to your taste here. Roujin Z, 1991. The series revolves around the adventures of a young nurse called Haruko and her ward, an invalid octogenarian widower named Kijuro Tazikawa. When the Japanese Minister of Public Welfare announces a new and revolutionary technology in the form of a robotic bed that administers to all the needs of a patient, the idea becomes an instant hit with the people. The machine is, however, still a prototype. As such, the people behind it require guinea pigs, test subjects, in order to test it. Tazikawa is set to be the first volunteer to test this bed, which supposedly takes care of everything from home entertainment to administering medical needs. It's a bed powered by a nuclear reactor that, in case of a meltdown, can seal itself and its patient within a nuclear blast-resistant bunker. Things, however, kick off when Kijuro relays a cry for help to Haruko through her office computer via his connection with the advanced technology of the bed. The young nurse realizes all is not well and decides to help her patient escape, even as they get engulfed in a deeper, more sinister conspiracy when it's revealed that the bed is part of an experimental weapons program. Things only get more complicated when the machine gets imbued with the memories of Kijuro's dead wife and starts gaining sentience. This one's a dark satirical piece on society by acclaimed writer Otomo Katsuhiro of Akira fame. Nursing students other than Haruko might consider geriatric treatment a dead-end career, and the eagerness of the populace to see the success of a machine that would rid them of their responsibilities towards the elderly is a damning reflection of our world. It deals with themes of family and human warmth in a world that is increasingly becoming more self-centered. Japanese philosophy, which believes in the ability of a soul to inhabit objects, is a motif that plays a significant role in the show. Overall, it's a brilliant satire that proves you don't always need only blood and gore to paint a dark and disturbing future, and this anime will not fail to entertain. MD Geist. MD Geist is set in the near future and tells the story of its titular character, Geist, codenamed MD-02. He's an MDS, most dangerous soldier, a genetically enhanced super soldier created to be the apex fighter. However, all the known soldiers created through this program have gone crazy with bloodlust. The story picks up with our protagonist waking up from his cryostasis in a war zone. Geist must now team up with old familiar faces and some new ones as he's thrust into the middle of a civil war and works to disarm a doomsday weapon capable of scouring the planet of all life. He's a no-nonsense character who's quite literally the manliest man there is. He's reminiscent of Space Rambo, but but much more ruthless. The anime is unabashedly dripping in testosterone, and the one-dimensional nature of its protagonist lends itself to enhancing the story. There is no mush and fluff, there's no deep meanings of life explored. It's just the straight-up essence of manliness. Set in a grim, dark universe, it's incredibly gory and full of what we can only explain as blood, guts, and glory. It's a perfect example of the 80s and 90s animes and their willingness to experiment, especially regarding character development. We would recommend more people give this underrated gem a try. Akira. 1988. Akira is an anime that requires no introduction. It takes place in the futuristic dystopian world of Neo-Tokyo, and it follows the story of two friends, Shotaro Kaneda and Tetsuo Shima. Tokyo was destroyed in 1998 by an esper named Akira, triggering World War III. Neo-Tokyo, the city built upon its ruins, is rife with criminal gangs and violence, governed by a corrupt government. In this chaos, Shotaro and Tetsuo are two friends who are part of a Bosozuko, or biker gang, called the Capsules, who are locked in constant conflict against their rivals called the Clowns. During one of their fights, they get caught up in an accident involving an esper on the run after escaping from the government with the help of a resistance group. Tetsuo is injured as he crashes into the escapee and finds him and his gang captured by Shikishima of the Japan Self-Defense Force. Tetsuo is then taken to a secret government hospital where they discover he has the same powers as Akira. He soon learns that, fearing his powers would cause the same tragedy as the one triggered by Akira, the government intends to dispose of him. Therefore, he decides to escape. While he makes his escape, Tetsuo goes on a rampage, killing everyone, as he must come to terms with his newfound abilities, even as he struggles to control them. With the lines of morality blurred, Kaneda must put his life and friendship on the line in order to stop his best friend and prevent history from repeating itself. Akira is a seminal piece of art that sets many industry standards, some of which still can't be duplicated to this day. It saw the alliance of several major entertainment companies like Kodansha, Bandai, and Toho, to name a few, to fund the creation of this project. The animation is the result of 160,000 cells. It was photographed onto 65mm film, and several other innovative techniques were used to turn it into a visual masterpiece that's still admired today. It's the most influential work in the Japanese cyberpunk genre and is considered an icon for revolutionizing the use of adult themes and mature content in anime. It paved the way for Japanese animation's popularity across Japan's borders. 36 years after its release, the anime is still studied by people involved in filmmaking and animation. Akira is a timeless masterpiece that will be well loved even in the future, and it's the perfect anime to end our list on, so we're honored to recommend this legendary work of art to all our marvelous viewers. Marvelous verdict! The anime on this list are truly able to capture the spirit of the age that they are a product of. The animation techniques of the 80s and 90s seem to lend themselves perfectly to telling the tales of these grotesque and grim worlds and characters. We understand that the titles we've discussed today might not be for everyone, especially if you're squeamish. Still, these anime are undeniably held dear by many who appreciate this style. Several elements of these shows would go on to inspire many future artists and even some of your favorite anime. While some entries on this list are pure fan service to the people who love death, destruction, and carnage in their entertainment, others do genuinely deal with far more profound themes of humanity. Often, it's only when we're able to look into our own darkness unafraid and truthfully that we begin our journey into the light. We hope you enjoyed our list. Do let us know what would make your personal list of disturbing sci-fi anime from the 80s and 90s in the comments down below. We want to hear about it, and we're always looking for new ideas for videos. Until next time, stay safe, and we'll catch you in the next one.